Welcome to Cfiles. Just need to get the fact checkers scurrying to their safe spaces so they don't mess with my video. That should do it. I'm sure they're all running out away from the computers scared from that sound. Oh, what a symphony. What a symphony. Well, here comes the symphony finale. Here we go. What a beautiful sound. Welcome to the Cfiles. We're back. And we ain't messing around, and neither is Tom Homan and the Trump administration. The incoming Trump administration, that is. Folks, the rats are scurrying, and they are running, but they can't hide, and they will be trapped. This is going to be good. Well, with that in mind, let's go to Gateway Pundit real quick. Here's out of the Gateway Pundit. Joe Biden issues largest single-day clemency for convicts in modern American history, just days after pardoning Hunter, crushing old clemency record held by Obama. Over 1,000 people have unsurprisingly received a get-out-of-jail-free card thanks to Joe Biden just a month before he leaves office. Hey, Joe, I was just wondering, just wondering if you could just give me a pardon, like maybe for the next 20 years, to cover the next 20 years, just in case something might happen. Just asking. The Associated Press reported on Thursday that Biden has decided to commute the sentences of about 1,500 convicts who were released from prison during the COVID-19 pandemic and placed on home confinement. In addition, Biden also announced he was pardoning 39 people convicted of nonviolent crimes. I wonder how many of them are here illegally in the country. Were any of them J6ers? Did he pardon the grandma that was convicted of praying in front of an abortion clinic? I mean, off property, but yeah, I doubt it. Biden argued in a statement that he is honoring America's tradition as a country that gives out second chances. Well, unless you're a Christian or a conservative or someone who voted for Trump, then you're not allowed to have a second chance. These individuals had expressed remorse for their actions. Oh, is that all I have to do? Just outwardly express, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I killed that person. I'm sorry I trafficked that kid so he could go into child labor. Oh, can you give me clemency? I'm sorry that I was involved in the child sex trafficking ring. America was built on the promise of possibility and second chances. Can you give me one more time, one more chance to commit the crime and get it right this time and not get caught? As president, I have the great privilege of extending mercy to people who have demonstrated remorse and rehabilitation. Now, don't get me wrong, folks. There are people who have genuinely changed their lives and expressed remorse and rehabilitation, and it's real. Maybe they came to Christ while they were in prison and they've completely changed their life around. But do you think Biden is going to pick those folks to release? Oh, think again. Think again. It's all about sabotaging the next um, the next administration coming in. Matter of fact, this is let me see if I can find this real quick. Oh yes. Out of Gateway Pundit, what a snake. Chris Wray reportedly launches a sinister scheme to procedurally handcuff President Trump and FBI nominee Kash Patel before he officially departs. Well, he has resigned as of, I think, yesterday or so. Well, what did he do? Of course, by resigning, it's like the kid, when you're playing with your grandson or your child, and they go, "You can't see me," right? They hide their eyes, they close their eyes, they go, "Ah, my eyes are closed. You can't see me." That's kind of what they're doing. Oh, I resigned, so you can't see me now. Um, FBI Director Chris Wray may have read the writing on the wall in terms of his tenure, but he has a scheme that could hamper President Trump and his FBI director pick Kash Patel's plans to overhaul the broken agency. Oh, okay. What's the scheme? As the Gateway Pundit reported, Wray announced his resignation on Wednesday after 7 years in charge of the FBI. He will still serve until the end of Biden's term in January. Wrong! He already resigned. This news of Wray's departure comes after reports emerged this week he was preparing to step aside to avoid getting sacked by Trump. Once Wray officially steps down, Deputy Director Paul Abbott will take over on an interim basis until the Senate hopefully confirms Patel. But Wray has one last trick up his sleeve. The Washington Times reported on Wednesday the disgraced FBI director has launched a sinister plan to save his cronies, word they're using, quote, cronies, from termination and handcuff both Trump and Patel in the process. Wray has not only started promoting his senior employees to burrow them within the department, but a plan is developing to delay Patel's entry into the agency for months. Now, how is he going? Come on, Gateway Pundit. Come on, seriously. How's he going to pull this off? Sources within the Bureau said Mr. Wray has begun promoting employees among the senior executive service, those who serve within the Bureau's leadership. So, are these bureaucrats really that delusional? Are they seriously that delusional? These sources described this as an effort to burrow establishment figures deeper within the FBI. Folks, that's not going to work. It's not going to work. Sources said a plan is being formulated to delay the new FBI director's entry into the agency for 3 or 4 months. Mm-hmm. January 20th. Oh, he has to be confirmed first. That's true. Oh, so how are they going to do that? Does he control Congress? Sources said, okay, so anyway, the Washington Times notes that this despicable scheme has risked giving Trump's righteous hostility toward the FBI, but Wray remains undeterred. And Wray might get away with it. How? If Wray succeeds, Patel will likely have trouble running the FBI effectively, as Wray's deep state goons constantly leak and defy orders without repercussions. Yeah, okay. This would be great news for dangerous criminals and awful news for law-abiding Americans. Okay, look, folks, this is psychological warfare. I'm going to tell you why in a moment. If Trump cannot stop Ray's nefarious plan alone, the task will fall to Congress. Given how many rhinos currently hold office in the House and Senate, can we really trust our national legislators to stand up to the deep state shenanigans like this and ensure a disruptor like Patel can clean house? All of this angst and worry and, oh, we can't win because of this, we can't win because of that. It's a bunch of nonsense, folks. I worked for a police department, and one day we got a new chief. Yeah. About 3 months later, 2 lieutenants were gone. And a few months after that, there were some sergeants that were fired. Yeah, this chief walked in and cleaned house. And it didn't matter how deeply embedded these upper management people were or how long they had been on the department. They were gone. Well, he can't get rid of them. Deputy Director, your office is now in Adak, Alaska. We have a little room for you out there. You just go out there and I need you to run that station in Adak, Alaska. Go ahead. You've been transferred. You don't think they don't know how to do that? Anyone who thinks this will work has never worked for a law enforcement agency. I'll tell you that right now. And especially has never had any involvement in the federal government. Other deputy chief? Yeah, you're being assigned to Guam, U.S. territory. Guam. So I want you to handle the FBI office in Guam. And you know what you do? You make their life miserable. They want to play the shenanigans. You don't think that Trump and the FBI director can't make their life totally and completely miserable to the point where they would just want to resign and get out of there? That's what happened to the 2 lieutenants that resigned out of the department I was working for. Chief came in and made their life miserable. He took one out of the substation that he was working at, handling an entire division, and put him in a little corner closet office in the chief's office, and didn't give him any assignments. There's your office. Go over there and sit there and stew for a while. Oh, and by the way, you have no responsibilities. Which means when comes time, because I know you want to make chief, when it comes time for you to go up for chief, you're not going to have much of a resume, are you? I mean, he gave him an office that he hated. And this lieutenant loved to work. He wanted to work. He wanted to get things done. And this chief didn't want him in his department. And he stuck him in a corner closet office. And I think he had an assignment, but it was some menial, I can't remember what it was. He was in charge of some menial nonsense that this LT hated doing. Let me tell you something, folks. 2 can play the game. The worry and the angst and all the... You got to know how to play the game, and you got to know how to push back. Bottom line. Bottom line. So, what's behind the New Jersey drone invasion? Enemy mothership sending surveillance craft? Secret U.S. program from Picantinny Arsenal? Why the secrecy? Okay, wait. We're talking about alien invasion. Hold on. Got to protect myself. I'm not that far from New Jersey, folks. It's just right up there. Make sure I'm taken care of here before these things start showing up over my skies. You ain't going to get me. I got my tinfoil hat. Anyway, so yeah, there's a lot of possibilities there. So here's what I put up an X about that. Let me move down here to take a look at that. Did I not have it in here? I'm not seeing it. Anyway, so what do you think it is, folks? Do you think it's foreign technology? Maybe Area 51 technology? The most secret and famous base in the world. I tell you what, for a base that's supposed to be one of the most, clandestine secret bases in the world, it sure is famous around the world. Documentaries have been made about it. Is it Area 51 technology? Is it the Chinese sending this stuff over? Is it multidimensional beings? Is it spirit beings like angels showing up in the sky and dissipating out? Is it mothership up there, like Independence Day, and they're just sending down the scout ships? The invasion? Or is it holographic images that are being shot up to the sky and they're made to look real, but they're not real? All of those could be possibilities, but I don't know. Will we find out? Will we not find out? We may not find out what they are. But nobody's going up to do anything. We're Space Force. Come on, man. We're Space Force. Where's all this surveillance Space Force is supposed to be doing? You can't send we can't send our own drones up there. Maybe send a Predator up there to go up there and take a look at them. Yeah, something ain't right here. Something's not right. By the way, they showed up again also in Temecula, California, and they're just shooting off in all kinds of directions. All right, we talked about Ray. Now, there's a rock in Plymouth, Massachusetts. And this rock was placed there in 1620. And it has the date 1620 etched into the rock. And it's sitting, right there on the beach area. And they got a little display thing for it. And it's called Plymouth Rock. And, of course, that's where the Pilgrims had landed. And it was at sea level in 1620. It was also at sea level in 1920. And in 2023, Plymouth Rock remains at sea level. How can that be when we have island nations in the Pacific claiming that their islands are disappearing under the ocean because of climate change? But Plymouth Rock hasn't changed in what, 400 years? Who was that congressman a number of years ago said he was concerned about putting a Navy base on Guam, which there's already a Navy base there, by the way. I was when I was a reservist in the Navy, I was active duty, and then I went to reserves. The reservists, they sent me to Guam twice on 2 weeks duty to that Navy base. And this congressman was saying, Yeah, I'm concerned about bringing the ships into Guam and putting a base on there because it might be too much for the island, and it might tip the island over and it capsize. I kid you not, folks. That was an actual statement by a Congress member in the U.S. Congress. And we wonder why we're in trouble. All right, so I got something here. I'm going to show this one to you. So you need to see this. Can you see that? Let me get it up here. See the bears? See the cute little bears? Yeah, those cute little bears right there. Now, look. This is critical race theory explained. You had the brown bear, which is usually in the western part of the United States. You had the black bear, which is usually located in the Appalachian Mountains, the eastern part of the United States. And then you have the polar bears, which are, Alaska, Canada, Northern Territory. So you have brown bear, black bear, racist bear, because, polar bears are white. Therefore, they are racist. So in the bear community in Alaska, Canada, and the Northern Territories, you have bear racism. I can't think of, what do they call it? Institutionalized racism, whatever. Anyway, critical race theory explained. That's why I don't drive a white car. I don't want a racist car. Anyway, moving right along. So, it's just a way to explain it, So, white, bad, everything else good. Okay. All right. Ron Paul is joining Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy at the DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency. This is a statement that was made by Ron Paul. When I say cut taxes, I don't mean fiddle with the code. I mean abolish the income tax and the IRS and replace them with nothing. That's the only solution that will emancipate the American people from financial slavery. If they don't dump the IRS, dump the Federal Reserve, and dump the income tax, any progress that the Trump administration makes in the next 4 years, well, it'll have some effect for a little while until the next few administrations come in and completely ruin all of it. Why? Because they'll still have the income tax, they'll still have the IRS, they'll still have the Federal Reserve as their power brokers to keep the American people in financial slavery. What we need is a financial emancipation proclamation for the American people. Will it happen? I get a lot of people saying, nope, they don't believe that will happen. That's ridiculous. How could you even think or say such a thing? I mean, really? The income tax is so entrenched in our government, our society, the way we do things now. People can't even imagine the idea of getting rid of the income tax. Plus, they say, well, the government would collapse. There wouldn't be any money to run the government. That's false. That's not true. It's not a zero-sum game. Besides, there are going to be some major cuts in government. Entire agencies are going to be gone. Matter of fact, how much does it cost to run the IRS? No, you can fund the government through other means. You don't have to have an income. See, this is the indoctrination, the brainwashing that the American people have gone through, where they can't think outside of the box of April 15th every year, where you have to file your taxes. They can't seem to think outside of that box. But fortunately, we have people going into government in the Trump administration that are capable of thinking outside that box. So maybe they can free our minds and help us to escape that financial prison. We'll see. If they don't, then in my opinion, the Trump administration over the next 4 years would be a total failure. If they don't get rid of the IRS, if they don't get rid of the Federal Reserve, and if they don't get rid of the income tax, then we will have wasted 4 years. Okay? Because we'll go right back into the condition that we're in now. So Trump's going to be inviting some folks to his inauguration, including President Xi Jinping of China. Is Trump doing two things at once? Letting Xi Jinping know that he's the boss, that Trump's the boss, and trying to foster a better relationship with China at the same time? So the government candle, I need another sip. The government of Canada archives contain records of Ukrainian war crimes including Ukrainian 14th Waffen SS Division series. I'll show you what they have here. See that right there? Yeah, that's what we're looking at. So what he's got highlighted is Ukrainian 14 Waffen SS Division, list of policemen recruited in LWOW. How many bullets used in Jew action? Yeah, there's a number of them. There's atrocities in Slovakia, all about the SS Division. Atrocities in Lvov, in Poland, Warsaw, 1944. I mean, it goes on. Now, we know that Ukraine had an SS division that was attacking the Donbass region of Ukraine because they were more pro-Russian, and attacking civilians and killing, sniping civilians, hitting apartment buildings with munitions, things of that nature. And we know that that was going on just a little bit before Russia came in and moved in to attack Ukraine. The folks in Donbass were asking Russia to come in and help them because they were being so tore up by these divisions of Ukraine. Ukraine's the most corrupt government in Europe. We all know that. And how many billions of dollars have we sent over there? Well, that's the globalists, that's the deep state, that's that's Soros, that's Klaus Schwab, that's the World Economic Forum. We know who's behind it, and we know what their purpose is. Bongino has some thoughts on these drones. Do I need to get my foil out again? He thinks they're Chinese, and I've heard another theory that they're Iranian drones that are spying on us. He's concerned about them. Now, when you think of Epstein and Diddy, this gentleman has something brilliant to say. So let's go ahead and let him speak.
There's something happening in our world, people, that is so indescribable. It's so phenomenal. It's so unbelievably fantastic. And the vast majority of y'all don't even realize it. We've seen on the news of the arrest of Diddy and Jeffrey Epstein a couple of years ago. Do we actually understand what that means? Do we actually get how incredibly phenomenal that is? I mean, listen up. Diddy and Epstein were the two main agents of the Mossad and the CIA used to trap politicians, celebrities, business people, everyone with influence and power. They were used to corrupt our world. They were used to corrupt our government. They were used to completely corrupt entertainment. After they were able to entrap these powerful, influential people into sexual contact with children, they could blackmail them for the rest of their life. Listen carefully. Most people don't even understand what this means. That is how they corrupted the government. That is how they corrupted Hollywood. That is how they corrupted finance and business and the news media, everything. That is how they were able to blackmail thousands of powerful, high-level people. Do we understand what happened? Trump and the whole operation that works behind him to save our world from this evil, they canceled it. They stopped it. They stopped the operation to seize control over everyone in government, everyone in finance, business, call it the judiciary, law enforcement. They removed two of the main operations of the Israeli Mossad, which they used to control almost everyone who has any level of influence in our world. This means that they're losing their power. This means that the people are being set free. Those in high positions. If these blackmailing operations no longer exist, do we understand what this really means, people? It is unbelievable. I mean, this is such incredible, great news, and most people don't even think about it. There's something happening in our world that many, many people would have given everything for to be a part of, to witness what is happening in our world. This is phenomenal.
Think about that for just a moment. If that's true, this is stopworldcontrol.com, David J. Sorensen. If that's true, then what that means is that the power and control that the globalist deep state, the intelligence agencies and so forth had over the politicians and the CEOs of business and so forth, that power and control has been lost because they lose the ability to blackmail them. Now, let me say this. What the heck were these politicians thinking in the first place? Why would you get caught up in something like that and then be blackmailed? Seriously? Let me read something to you. This is the problem that we have. It's the heart of man. This is Proverbs 6, beginning with verse 16. These 6 things does the Lord hate, yea, 7 are an abomination unto him: a proud look, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that devises wicked imaginations, feet that be swift in running to mischief, a false witness that speaks lies, and he that sows discord among brethren. Yeah, God's going to break that garbage up. He'll tolerate it for a little while. But God is patient. But his patience eventually runs out. And as these people become more and more proud and arrogant and haughty and start thinking that they're bigger than God, that's the downfall. Speaking of God, did you hear about the man on the cross? This is Alistair Begg, The Thief on the Cross. It's a gem, folks. Just sit back, relax, and listen in. This is really, really good.
Because I believed, because I have faith, because I am this, because I am continuing. Loved ones, the only proper answer's in the third person, because he. Think about the thief on the cross. And what an immense, I can't wait to find that fellow one day to ask him, how did that shake out for you? Because you were cussing the guy out with your friend. You'd never been in a Bible study. You never got baptized. You didn't know a thing about church membership, and yet you made it. You made it. How did you make it? That's what the angel must have said. Like, what are you doing here? Well, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? Well, because I don't know. Well, excuse me, let me get my supervisor. They go get the supervisor ranger. So, wait, just a few questions for you. First of all, are you clear on the doctrine of justification by faith? The guy said, I never heard of it in my life. And what about, let's just go to the doctrine of Scripture immediately. This guy's just staring. And eventually, in frustration, he says, on what basis are you here? And he said, the man on the middle cross said, I can come. Now, that is the only answer. That is the only answer. And if I don't preach the gospel to myself all day and every day, then I will find myself beginning to trust myself, trust my experience, which is part of my fallenness as a man. If I take my eyes off the cross, I can then give only lip service to its efficacy, while at the same time living as if my salvation depends upon me. And as soon as you go there, it will lead you either to abject despair or a horrible kind of arrogance. And it is only the cross of Christ that deals both with the dreadful depths of despair and the pretentious arrogance of the pride of man that says, I can figure this out and I'm doing wonderfully well. No, because the sinless Savior died, my sinful soul is counted free, for God the just is satisfied to look on him and pardon me. That's why Luther says most of your Christian life is outside of you, in this sense, that we know that we're not saved by good works. We're not saved as a result of our professions, but we're saved as a result of what Christ has achieved.
Amen. That's so good. Don't you love his accent? I love his accent. But anyway, it's so true. It's so true. The man on the middle cross said I could come. God's in control, folks. And let me use that to springboard into this. What made America great in the first place? And what does America need to be great again? Well, what we need is to bring in a bunch of PhDs from all the other countries that are really smart, and they've been through all of the secular universities and have all the secular education, and they can come in and they can get their think tanks and figure everything out and fix America. We've been doing that for a long time. How's that worked out for you? What they didn't have was this. No, that's not what makes America great. What makes America great is a people who are mentally, physically, and spiritually tough. A tough, resilient, strong people. Only way you get there spiritually is through the Word of God. Period. There is no other avenue to being spiritually strong. Only way you get there mentally is to go through a lot of hard things in life, survive them, work your way through them, and come out stronger on the other side. The only way to get stronger physically is to stop eating all the junk, work out, put in the hard work that you need to put in to take care of yourself. The soldiers that stormed Normandy, they were not the type of people that we have today that run for safe spaces because somebody didn't use their pronoun. It's not secular education and PhDs that make America strong. It's a resilient people that make America strong, a resilient people who honor and glorify God. Did you hear about what happened in Romania?
Because I believed.
Okay, let me click, stop. Did you hear about what happened in Romania? They stopped the election. Their Supreme Court stopped the election. Oh, well, I wonder if they were in Epstein Island. Did Diddy go over to Romania and compromise their Supreme Court? Somebody got to them because the populace, God-fearing, God-believing man that was running for their presidency was winning. Oh, we can't have that. So we're going to stop the election. They gave some silly excuse. Oh, it was Russian. I think the excuse was it's Russian interference. Why does Russia always get blamed for? Yeah, you know what? Next time my wife asked me if I took out the trash because, it was trash day and I forgot to take out the trash, I'm going to say, oh, I would have done that, but I had Russian interference and I couldn't get the trash taken out because of Russian interference. I mean, that's how stupid it's gotten, folks. All right. I can't do this one with Dr. McCullough because the truth deniers, that being the fact checkers on YouTube, they probably come back out from their safe spaces. So I'd have to play some more V8 engines revving to get them back in their safe space before I could play this. But the logarithm would catch me. But he had some things to say about childhood vaccines that you might want to know about. But I can't say it on YouTube or they'll kick me off. Because they're truth deniers. The Vigilant Fox has it on the X page. I have it on my X page. Just scroll down and find it. And I'm going to try to put it on Rumble. But suffice it to say, Dr. McCullough is not a big fan of poking the arms of children. How many times? Like over 80 times or something like that? He's not a big fan of it. So, New Jersey State Representative Brian Bergen walked out of the Homeland Security briefing on the drone situation in New Jersey fed up because, he ran into the bureaucracy that was not going to determine anything or, what are these things in the sky? Nobody knows because our government just doesn't. They're either hiding something or they don't care or or they want something to happen. All right. Now get this one. Everybody says, well, you can't end the deficit. You can't end the debt. The debt's too high. We're trillions of dollars in debt. It's just impossible. Can't do it. All that pessimism, all that negativity. Argentina ends deficit for the first time in 123 years. Oh, but it can't be done. The deficit was the root of all our evils. Without it, there's no debt, no emission, no inflation. Today, we have a sustained fiscal surplus, free of default for the first time in 123 years. This is from the president of Argentina. It says this historic achievement came from the greatest adjustment in history in reducing monetary emission to zero. A year ago, a degenerate printed 13% of GDP to win an election, fueling inflation. Today, monetary emission is a thing of the past. I wonder if he's speaking in his language. Yeah, he is. So anyway, I just read to you what he was saying. Yeah, it can be done. Stop believing the people that are trying to condition your mind to think a certain way. Very pessimistic, very negative. Oh, it can't be done. Oh, we can't scale this wall. We can't overcome this mountain. Yeah, we can. Oh, we're going to sabotage the government so that Trump, for 4 years cannot get anything done. Oh, really? You're that powerful? Really? You're really that strong? Yeah. Okay. Right. These officers keep passing away. Rest in peace, police officer Jacob Cantadoza of Terrell Police Department in Texas, who was shot and killed on 12/9/24 after he initiated a car stop and called for backup. He was a United States Marine Corps veteran, was on the job for only 4 months, and leaves behind his wife and child. That's a horrible loss, folks. A lot of the loss of these officers, well, some of it is, there's a lot of reasons. I don't want to Monday morning quarterback anything. There's a lot of reasons why officers lose their lives. Some of it's preventable, some of it's not preventable. Some of it is training issues, some of it's not. Some of it is tactical mistakes, some of it's not. Sometimes there's nothing you can do to avoid the inevitable. Could be under ambush, a sniper, things of that nature. These things have happened. These guys and gals, they work a very dangerous and difficult job. You can tell he's a Marine Corps veteran. There's a lot of veterans in law enforcement. And yet, I served 7 years in the Navy, had 2 deployments, did reserve time. I did 3 years reserve time with the Army. And nothing I did in the military was more dangerous than what I did in law enforcement. Law enforcement was much more dangerous than anything I did in the military. Now, that's not true of every veteran. Some veterans have done very, very dangerous jobs in the military. They have gone into combat. And so keep the military veterans and the law enforcement officers in your heart and your mind, in your prayers. Just pray that we have good ones, not ones that are corrupt. So anyway, so we got North Carolina still going on. This should be national news and shared everywhere. Infuriating. FEMA and North Carolina are only paying out for buybacks of houses at pre-Hurricane Helena, I should say, pricing if the homeowners agree to sell their land and leave. I told you folks it's a land grab, but homeowners won't get the money if they want to stay. This is 4 minutes,
For
but
y'all on December 6th, right here.
let me give you a little
Does
bit of
FEMA
it.
have money or not? Does North Carolina have money or not? Because I have met with dozens of people in Western North Carolina one-to-one and asked them, as I'm processing other grant money, have you received help from North Carolina? The answer is no. Have you received help from FEMA? The answer is sometimes. And I'll ask, great, how much did you get? $750, $300. Or the lady I spoke to this week who's in a trailer house that has mold, the roof is messed up, but they're still living in it. FEMA came and told them it's uninhabitable. So you know how much FEMA gave them? $3,500. Now tell me this, y'all, and I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. How in the name of heavens is $3,500 the amount of money that should be offered to somebody whose house is deemed uninhabitable when they have nowhere else to go and they don't want to leave? We got to talk about this.
It's a land grab. This has got to end. Our current North Carolina governor is doing nothing. Our incoming North Carolina governor is going to do nothing because they're both deep state hacks. And those mountains are getting cold. We got a little bit of flurry of snow here. I'm east of Charlotte. I'm about 15 miles east of Charlotte. I'm sorry. Yeah, east of Charlotte. I get east and west mixed up sometimes. And we got snow. A little bit of a flurry. It didn't stick, but we got some. Now imagine what it's like up in the mountains west of Charlotte. It's even colder, even worse. People are freezing to death. And they're told they can't rebuild because it's a flood zone. What? Every 100 years? It might flood, maybe. It might be every 500 years. But it's a flood zone. You know why they said that? Only because it's an excuse to take the land. Well, what's up in that land? Materials for making batteries for electric cars and cell phones, like the one I'm talking on now. They'll go up there and they'll start mining it. Told they can't rebuild, they can't have temporary housing, they can't do nothing because of bureaucratic red tape. And lives are at stake. You sick of it, folks? Are you sick of this kind of nonsense? I am. You sick of these governments basically thumbing their nose at you and me and saying, oh, we don't want reform in the FBI. We're going to sabotage Kash Patel's ability to reform the FBI. We're going to sabotage that so that the American people don't get their way. We're going to try to sabotage the Trump administration so that the American people don't get their way. Because we don't like the American people and we don't like what the American people stand for. We're trying to destroy them and they won't go. Why? Because we are a strong, resilient people who we're not going to just lay down and die. We're not going to go quietly into the night. Famous line from Independence Day. You're not going to take us down that easy. And if you thought you were, boy, did you get a surprise when Hillary lost? And did you get a surprise when Kamala lost? Because we're resilient people and we don't, you pan up on us, you take a stance on us, fights on. So what we're going to see, folks, is we're going to see a lot of corrupt officials being taken down. And by the way, Tom Homan has already set the warning out to these governors and these mayors of sanctuary cities and sanctuary states. If you interfere with deportation, you will be prosecuted. Well, it's about time. So, we'll keep on keeping on because we don't back down and we're not stopping. And it doesn't matter how many booby traps you set, deep state, we're going to keep coming. And we're going to clean this mess up. Thanks for watching, folks. God bless. We'll see you next time on Cfiles. And remember, when you hear that V8 sound, we're on. God bless. See you next time.